I will keep trying to get Tracy into the meeting.
Sounds good. Well, I guess we can start. We'll start with the roll call. Um, I'm Sean O'Neill. I'm here. We also have Thor. Thor, how do you say your last name?
Lynn Stam.
Linstam.
Yeah.
Um, and Brandon Cullum, as well as Marissa there for us, and Brecken from the city clerk's office. Um, did everybody get a chance to look at the agenda?
Yes.
Does anybody want to change anything? And are we okay with the current agenda?
I was asked by someone if there would be public comments allowed in these committee meetings, and I'm not sure as a new member on the board.
I
Brandon, do you know, or Marissa?
I'm
Nope,
not 100% sure, but I believe that our committee meetings there's no public comment.
Okay.
correct.
Marissa, is that
That is
correct?
correct information.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's a time thing.
Yes.
That makes sense.
And then I'm getting notices that my internet is unstable, so hopefully that doesn't slow us down. So yeah, so on the agenda there we have we're going to talk about kind of season pass sales, a little bit about marketing. I'm definitely not the I don't know anything about marketing, but have some ideas, and Tracy can definitely fill us in more on that. And mostly communication. Thor, do you kind of want to talk about like season pass sales, or I can start too.
I'm not prepared
Oh,
for.
I could kind of start. So kind of my thing is season pass sales are down, and I was kind of hoping we kind of brainstorm on why we believe they're down. Some things that I kind of have pinpointed just having conversations with skiers and everyone is, there's some individuals that, just kind of the lack of snow last year, they kind of wanted to wait and see, you know, Eaglecrest snow this year. We already snow, but we were also having some kind of difficulties there, just kind of logistics and infrastructure. So it's a little difficult to see if people who are worried about snow last year and are seeing snow this year, if they're going to be buying more passes. We'll kind of have to wait to see that. Um, one that's also come up was just kind of the lack of snowmaking. Um, and honestly, for the loss of black bear has also been a big kind of factor that I've been hearing, as well as kind of uncertainty in the board and in management. Um, but those are kind of the four kind of main things I've been hearing on why season pass sales are down. And I don't know if you've heard anything else. It's definitely something I think we gotta keep a close eye on, and try to get those sales numbers back up.
Can I add, Sean, something? Do you
Yep.
mind? I just wanted to share. I've actually got someone texting me now, and but I've heard it from a couple of other folks. I think some of the lack of detail for ptarmigan um,
Yeah.
has, definitely made people a little bit uncomfortable as they're seeing the snow come and kind of weighing whether or not they're going to go ahead and commit to a season pass. And also we haven't seen snow updates. So like the conditions page isn't getting solid updates, and people are just, they're used to going to that page and just kind of keeping in tune with what's going on the mountain, even if they're not going up there. And so that was another concern someone shared with me, just kind of what might be keeping people away or stamping down enthusiasm.
Yeah, and I kind of want to talk to that when we get to communication because I definitely so I had to like recover my Facebook to kind of keep up to date on stuff um and I don't want to get back on Instagram and all, but I always used to call the snow hotline. I have not called this year, so I'm not sure if that's getting updated as well. Um, yeah, I definitely heard that people want some updates and some snow totals.
Hi there, this is Tracy Sunflower. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, sure can. How are you doing, Tracy?
Good. Sorry that I'm late to joining the meeting here. Just having a little internet problems here with our power outage, so I am here to join. I'm just grabbing on, so I don't know if you want me to chime in on your guys' questions and what you guys were just talking about. I'm trying to start my video, but it is not giving. Oh, there I am. There we go. Hi.
Hey Tracy, we haven't met in person. I'm Thor. I'm part of this committee, and this also I kind of just want to say this is the first time we've had one of these. Sean's the chair. I
Hi, Sean.
pointed the right way to the window, go that way on my screen. And I think right now we're talking about some of the feedback we've gathered from our peers, fellow skiers in the community, and I think right now listening is really good, and then we can engage and find out where your expertise can help out there. So,
Perfect.
and I'll follow with some of my feedback too. As far as season pass sales go, tough year economically. Last year was a low snow year. I would be interested to see if we can trend that over the last 10 years to see what happened after low snow years. If I don't know if anybody has that kind of chart, that'd be cool. Some dynamic statistics.
I could get that for you. I did run it in July, but it's been a while.
Yeah, Sean, I'll pass it back to you there.
Sounds good. Sorry, guys. I'm got a water heater in the background, so hopefully you guys can hear me.
Sean also mentioned his internet's kind of crummy.
So yeah, so Tracy kind of just cells are down and yeah. And so trying to figure that out, and the next thing is, kind of moving on to marketing, and this is kind of your specialty there. Definitely not anybody's or ours at least, Tracy, but kind of how do we use our marketing to kind of rebuild the community. One of the most unique things I think that set Eaglecrest apart is kind of the community of skiers and riders and all, as well as summer users. Um, it's more than just a mountain to us. It's like pretty much why most of us live here, or of your kind of hardcore large, skier group there. Without Eaglecrest, it kind of makes other towns a little more attractive, or at least for me. So, and the big thing is the community, the people that you meet there, and kind of how can marketing team so far, kind of focusing on that, long time season pass holders, keeping them happy, keeping really family focused, and just kind of showcasing that we're more than just a ski area. We're a community, and we're an accepting community, and get more people of Juneau up skiing.
Yeah, and another probably pretty important reason why people haven't bought a season pass is taking down Black Bear Chair, just reducing uphill traffic in general. So um, another comment from me too is I know someone who, and maybe I'm jumping all over the agenda here, so Sean rein me in. Is I know of someone who almost flew to Juneau thinking that ptarmigan was open, and they were looking at the website and they didn't really understand that it wasn't. And there was some confusion there, and there were people were asking me, and I was going to the web page, and I think that we're a little unorganized early season, and some people are, and myself included, are wondering what's the countdown for ptarmigan, and that's something that could be really loud and out there. It's okay that ptarmigan is broken. Everyone understands that things break, but it's less okay to not have the countdown because it's more important than New Year's Eve to a lot of skiers, myself included.
Yeah, and it's my understanding that we don't have a where the lift's getting inspected January 5th there, and then we'll kind of base off of that. I think that's what the hinge point is, but I did email Tracy a bit there. And she's got some fun ideas to kind of when the lift is running to get, kind of the stoke back in the community and kind of just celebrate the 50th year of Eaglecrest there. And I mean it's up for debate, but actually it's probably not up for debate. That's Ptarmigan's the lifeblood of Eaglecrest there, that's our golden lift there. Um, sorry, and then kind of the next thing, is ski school there, that's always kind of my thing, how's and it's mostly I just don't really know Tracy. So if you want to kind of fill us in on like kind of the marketing on that, it's my understanding that Aaron's still probably fully booked up and
Sorry, can you say that again? I think I
yeah,
broke up. If you want me to respond.
oh, so kind of marketing for the ski school, that's kind of a big thing, turning more future junior Juno skiers, and it's always my understanding that Aaron's always booked up and more instructors are, coming up and just how the marketing for that is. Are we still at full capacity with snow sports?
The holiday camps were sold out, and we actually were able to increase some of the holiday camps over the past week. And with that increase, with additional instructors, we were able to bump up numbers of 33% year over year. So that's fantastic. I'm not sure on future dates whether or not it's completely full. I believe there is lots of excitement for the spring camps, I heard, but I'm not sure on capacity
Yeah.
for those. I just made note of the third increase in sales that we had over the holidays.
And then as far as for you and Greg, do you know, what's our kind of marketing plan to kind of show support to our lifelong or our long-term season pass holders and all?
Yeah, so we're starting. Okay, so we've only been here a couple weeks, so we're starting to build. We don't really have a foundation for marketing of of our audience and our branding and the guest profiles and our voice. And so I'd like to, coming from other organizations and businesses, it's kind of that's kind of like your foundation, your core, so that you could do marketing campaigns and different sale incentives and things like that for both day tickets, individuals, and season pass holders. So what we're working on, both Greg and I, are kind of building out that foundation, and so that we could start doing year-long campaigns. I've started to put a lot of that information into a document that I am happy to share with this committee if that's what you would like moving forward, and we could kind of discuss where we are each month if you guys are interested in that. I kind of wanted to join this meeting first and see what we would like to get out of it, what would information you would like from us each month, so that we could share what we're doing on our end day to day. And we have some statistics that we pulled for this meeting if you're interested to hear that on our social pages, and kind of just give you a little bit of background on what we've been doing, if you'd like to hear that, or I could just email it to you, this committee,
No,
so
yeah.
that you guys could review. Kind of
That,
open to ears on what you would like to hear from us and how we could provide information as to what we're doing and where we would like to go.
no, yeah, definitely. definitely feel free to share that. I have no marketing experience, and maybe Thor does, but I don't. Marketing is kind of one of those things, you know. I know it would catch my eye, and I feel like I also kind of know what might, you know, kind of. I think right now, I think the main focus of marketing should be kind of rebuilding our core skier group and getting their support back. I'm a little worried that we're kind of losing support from um, our main ski group or snowboard groups, you know, kind of like those long-term pass holders. You know, the way I see it is if those long-term pass holders are getting unhappy, you know, we have more issues in this community. You know, if Joe Schmo that's been skiing at Eaglecrest for all its 50 years, or someone like me who's been here 13 years, but also grew up in Sitka and always flew to Juneau to come ski. Like if those individuals are kind of getting a little bit bummed out, or they're just kind of just getting frustrated with Eaglecrest, how can we use marketing in a way to kind of build that support back? You know, a lot of it's going to be communication, you know, like how well we can communicate, kind of like, you know, the hard stuff that's going on as we're dealing with issues. But also like, how do we, it's the 50th year. It'd be really cool to showcase, you know, those individuals. Johnny was the previous marketing kind of guru there. And I can guarantee you, I don't know, if he was out there with his GoPro or something, you had a flock of skiers following him, whether of all ages, you know. And I was always excited to kind of see that, or see like a spotlight, you know, um, on someone, you know, and just kind of celebrate the 50 years and also the hard work that people do put in outside of, you know, just being a skier. There's a lot of stuff I believe our community does to keep this mountain going and stuff like that, whether it's like clearing, you know, some berry bushes or trimming a tree branch that they hit, you know, on the west side. And we're like, so stuff like that, you know, rebuilding that community, I believe should be our core focus. Not necessarily focused on getting Eaglecrest right now to be a destination resort, you know. So that's where I kind of, this season for sure, it'd be nice to have focus on the community we already have and getting Juneau skiers and getting more, you know, more people using the mountain in the community, less focused on, you know, trying to get people flying here right now. And I'm not sure what you and Greg are focused on. Are you focused more on the community or more on kind of getting people from out of town to come to Juneau?
Yeah, and we could definitely. I mean, we're doing both. I think our main focus right now is the community and communicating and also learning Juneau and learning Eaglecrest since we're both new to town. So if there's, you know, I don't know anybody in the community yet. So if there are people who would like you'd like us to feature, or you could put us in contact with them, or send them up to the marketing office. We're happy to connect, and we're trying to partner with a lot of the organizations and the different user groups that come up to the mountain. Um, We've done posts with the Juneau Nordic Club and the Ski Club, and I just talked to Kevin with the Free Ride Club, or a competition that's going to happen this year. So I think there's a lot of different things that we're trying to put our hand in to kind of get more involved in the community, learn about the community, and then put that information out. Um, but we could definitely focus specifically on the community first. While also kind of building our core so that in the future we can do some more paid campaigns and things to get people from outside of Alaska to Eaglecrest as well. We kind of do two things at once, but for right now we are definitely focusing on the community and learning how to best communicate and where the needs are. So yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, that's kind of just where I want the focus to be. And and I don't know, I might be a millennial, but I can't stand Facebook or Instagram. I'm just kind of over social media. So kind of going on to communication, you know, how do we reach those people? And a lot of it is the website. I've used to just call the ski hotline and all, and now I more frequent the website mostly because I'm seeing if I can go for a quick lap before I go to work. And it seems like you guys are keeping really um kind of up on that too. Um, and then I don't focus too much on social media, but also kind of like, you know, if we can make I've heard a couple kind of criticisms of that. I don't really know to take them too seriously, but because it's just kind of some of them are kind of, you're just kind of like, I don't know if that comment is AI generated. Don't ask me. I'm not the one to be asking, but it seems like people want a more personal one. But also, I don't know how personable we need to get on social media and all. For me and my kind of mentality is I just want a quick update, 18 inches of snow today come up and that's it. So I don't know what your comfort is with that and how you and Craig and all are working together. I I feel like I would rather see like a write-up about ptarmigan on the website more than a write-up on ptarmigan, you know, on a Facebook post or something. But like I said, I'm I don't know if it's just my age group or me, but I'd rather click on a link, go to the actual website and then read an actual, report from the GM or from you guys explaining what's going on. It just seems more official than Facebook, but I am out of the social media kind of environment and more people are on that than not. So if Thor, if you also have any comments on it.
Yeah, social media is a pretty incredible tool. Not everybody's on it. Some kind of newsletter would be a good way to reach people via email. I have seen the email updates, they're good. Um, but yeah. And as far as messaging goes, to further my comment, it seems that in the last, just from compared to last season, Eaglecrest has regressed. And that means that we're down a chairlift and we don't have a bar. So these are two pretty swift blows to the mountain. And communications could use a little bit more optimism. Ptarmigan will turn back on. This is a cold winter. We are going to have a lot of snow. Skiing is still fun. Um, and yeah, the lot of comments about Eaglecrest isn't being transparent with their operations and their status. And I I think that Eaglecrest is doing a good job putting updates out. Um, Maybe not as good of a job making really direct certain targets, saying that things are broken and we're fixing them and we're not sure when we're going to open. That's not as active. That's a little bit more passive. And the communication could do for a little bit more active control. And that would put people at ease and get them a little bit more excited for the ski season.
And actually, and sorry, I had to take a call, so I missed some of that. But what you're saying really resonates with me, Thor. And I think just another way to look at that is a lot of the messaging lately has been thanks to all of you that support us and safety first and things like this. But a lot of it sounds like almost like what somebody who's experiencing a big loss might say. Like, thanks for almost like it almost feels like thanks for your condolences and but yeah, so pivoting to man, this is going to be so epic, and soon Ptarmigan will be up and running, and we're happy to bring this incredible winter to you. And rather than saying, while safety is, of course, our first priority, people are starting to comment to me that it sounds like Eaglecrest is hiding behind safety. And so I think moving towards just optimism and moving on with an understanding that, like Craig has made it clear, that safety is a priority, and now we just want to prioritize, let you know that we're focusing on your fun too. And I don't know if it's easy for you to reconcile that, or if I'm making a lot of sense, Tracy, but hopefully it comes to something.
Yeah, Tracy, these aren't criticisms, and we're real
Yeah,
grateful.
definitely not. And
Yeah.
and I will say that that event that you and Greg put on for the foundation at Forbidden Peak, that was one of the best events I've ever participated in for Eaglecrest and the foundation. So that was awesome. And you can tell like people are there, people are stoked, you know. So that that kind of stuff is still within all of us, you know, and within our long-term users and all that, you know. You just gotta kind of spark it again.
Can
Um,
can I ask a quick question, Tracy? Do you feel like when this committee kind of gives you this feedback, that you have the autonomy you need to act on it, or like you kind of know what to do with this information, or?
Yeah, no, the feedback is great. We definitely want feedback. We have an understanding of, or we have an idea of what we're trying to communicate. But if it's not coming across that way, we need to know so that we could change the way that we're moving forward. So, yeah, so this is great feedback. I could definitely bring it up to the team and see how we would like to change what we're doing to make it to better communicate, right? That's our goal, to do things right for what the community wants, and how we could give information correctly. We don't want to give incorrect information, right? And so some of this stuff is like, if we don't if there's not an actual timeline, it's hard to communicate a timeline if you don't have one. So it's like, so I guess we'll have to come up with some ideas, and I think it'll be great to have this committee so that we could bounce ideas off of you, and then you could give feedback, to see, how it comes across. Communities are also very different, so Juneau is very different than other communities that I've worked in, so it'll take a little bit of time to learn what everybody likes and how you guys communicate, and your guys' background is different than my background. So I think this will be a great platform to kind of get different perspectives and how we could do our jobs better, how we can communicate better. So yeah, so this is great feedback.
Yeah. And I hope that this is as much a tool for you as it is for the board, and that you get a lot of utility out of this. Because other than just walking around Home Depot asking people what they think about Eaglecrest, this might be one of your better ways to take the pulse. And I have one more comment too. If you're making some notes, or we're going to follow up with an email that says here's some main points. And I know it's our first meeting, so Sean, maybe we'll rely on your admin there and Marissa to kind of structure how the next meeting should look. Or are we going to address what we talked about during this meeting? Is there a list of things? Is Tracy going to make a report to address those lists and then submit some of their ideas? But I would like to say that communication around the gondola has pained me a little, and I want to maybe have a little bit more of an interpretation for the public where the project is as far as who's responsible for it, and that sending gondola cars to be refurbished is a good thing. And it's really incredible that the city was able to secure a contract to do that. That's a huge victory. It's not a that's not a loss. That that means that the gondola project is continuing forward, and we're gonna hit the deadline. It It was uncertain. Now it is certain. Good. Huge success. Big green check mark. That's all I want to see. And because I was in Home Depot the other day and some people next to me were talking about the gondola project and how it's such a failure that we have to send these gondola cars back to get refurbished. And I said, hey, I think that's actually really good. So that's the end of my rant. Sorry.
No, yeah, and in terms of the gondola, Craig Dahl is definitely the best one to ask. Also, Jim Calvin on the board. Um, Craig Dahl is definitely leading the charge. I feel like I learned most from him in regards to that. But also just for me, man, I always sit on my tailgate after skiing and ask people how their day is going and figuring out that, you know. So I feel most of the stuff I figure out is just there, you know, on the lift, in the lodge, um, and in the parking lot. So having ears and eyes in there and trying to just kind of pick up on what people are saying, and that is super helpful. Um, and just from the parking lot itself, you'll start noticing that there are certain cars that are there every day. Um, and you can kind of pick out who would be a, you know, like a good spotlight, you know, and I definitely have some ideas for that I could share with you. Um, but you know, kind of focusing on those people that will ski up there every day, you know, even in the rain. Right now we have some of the best conditions I've ever, or like this week is just mind-boggling, you know. So right now, you know, I also had people in Sitka being like, "Hey, we're coming. Can we stay at your house?" And I'm like, "Well, you know, asking what the update on Ptarmigan is, you know, but also like asking, well, can I tour, you know, from the top of Ptarmigan or Hooter?" And I'm like, you know, I don't actually know, you know. I know a couple days ago we weren't letting that happen, you know.
Well,
Are we
that's on the
letting that
website,
happen?
Sean.
Is
There,
it?
yeah, it's still closed. There's no touring from the top of above Hooter.
Hmm. So yeah, so kind of, you know, thinking about that and all. And I know safety is our
You're
top priority too, but you know, yeah, that's a difficult one. I'll kind of, I don't know. I probably shouldn't comment on that one. But but yeah, just kind of communicating that, you know, I'm pretty sure we still have the Alaska Airlines deal. Not 100% sure. But really, the only people that can use it is our Sitkins, you know. They're the only ones that can get here by 7 or 8 in the morning and then turn in their ticket there for a free lift ticket. Um, but but yeah, that's kind of stuff. And I think a lot of people forget about that, you know. Sitkins definitely take advantage of that, but that's something too that also might be worth showcasing. Um, but yeah, I don't know. This is our first meeting though too, and I am not a marketing expert, but mostly just kind of want to use these meetings as a discussion. Like, you know, here's what we're hearing. How do we communicate that? And then as well as how do we, you know, get more people up there? How do we find more users to enjoy this great resource that we have? We're extremely lucky in Juneau to have Eaglecrest. Um, and it's one of the biggest reasons why a lot of us live here. So always kind of thinking about that, you know, why do people, you know, I'm sure I have my reasons that are different than Thor's or Brandon's on why, you know, I live here and why I love Eaglecrest, you know. So, but if we can start highlighting those and reminding people the reasons why they do love it, you know, we might see kind of a change of tune, you know, within the community.
um so Tracy, you said something a minute ago that it's hard to talk about something where you don't know the timeline. And Craig gave us an update the other day that said the inspection's currently scheduled for the 5th, but for Ptarmigan. But do you know, are we still waiting for parts to come in? Do you know the status on that?
I don't have a status update. We typically have our operations meetings today, but we had the outage. So I don't have any updates since last week. So on I know we have our a third party mechanic up here working on it, but that is the only update that I have. So um, yeah, I guess one of the things is just we just want to be clear, and so if I don't have a specific date, or if that date changes because something happens, it's just do we give an old date and then just keep updating the date, or do you just say we're working on it? And so we've taken the approach of we're working on it. We'll give you weekly updates if anything changes and there's a set time. We'll let everybody know. But since there hasn't really been, it's kind of just been ongoing. Our approach has been we'll give you updates, and so we could definitely
Yeah.
change that. That's what it sounds like.
So I have something
Um,
I'd like to share with you. So when you
sure.
say we're working on it, when you post that, the ambiguous it gets people really concerned. So I think what you need to do is say what it is, and or don't or say we're just not telling you, we're being secretive. Because honestly, that's how it comes across. Like it sounds to everybody, even me, that we've made a big dumb mistake and we don't want to tell you when you say we're working on it. So I think what you need to do is specifically identify what you're working on. And I'm gonna follow up with Craig on this um, and say, we think we can be done with it by this time, but we can't guarantee that. So we're trying, but you need to define the it because people are they're about a half a missed snowstorm away from torches and pitchforks. And I think it's probably helpful for you to understand that right now, like the folks that can't go, touring up past Tudor and that are paying the most attention are kind of at the core of our user group and they're used to being in the know. And when they get antsy and concerned and start making judgments about the information, that spreads through the community through its own kind of grapevine network. And so what would be helpful is if you get out in front of those people that decide in with the lack of information, they're just going to make up their own story, and you tell the story with some details. So they can't say Craig is screwed up. Craig is ruining our ski area. No, Craig has identified X problem, and we'll say what X problem is, and we think it can be fixed in this time range. And so that'd be my advice for you. We've got to be more specific and take away the ability of the naysayers to make up the story that we're not telling.
Yeah, and a lot of that, I kind of see does fall on Craig. So I don't want you to feel like we're, shooting the messenger there. So, but it is definitely, like I would love to see, if we had to get a part machined, man, that would be a cool reel, like holding up that, gear, ceremonially taking it up to Ptarmigan and just dropping it in place. Like something like that would be, like here's something obvious that was broken. We're fixing it, you know. Step yeah, because I'm also, we're all just kind of like when is it gonna open? And that is more of a question for Mount Ops and for Craig. So you know, depending on how you feel, like how as a board could we help you get that info or kind of can we all work together to just communicate how it really is and definitely like if something's getting fixed, like boom, seeing the drive shaft come in, you know, truck that or or even just seeing, yeah, just better communication. But yeah, I kind of second what Brandon has to say there. And it's definitely difficult and don't know if we're providing you a lot of help, but hopefully we are. But we only have 5 more minutes left of this meeting though, but um, just kind of hopefully this is being productive there. Um, and definitely you're our point person for communicating. So just if we can just communicate everything, that'd be great. Because like Brandon says, it's hard for someone to be sold on something if it's a question, you know. Um, will Ptarmigan run? Yes, you know, like, but like an example is Ptarmigan's running. Well, why when I see it is it not running? You know, like that's a hard concept for me, you know. Like if Ptarmigan is running, why isn't it running? You know, and that's kind of the message that we've had kind of all year. And if we can kind of clean up that type of message to be, hey, it will be running, we're waiting on this part, then here's the part, that would be awesome, you know. Um, Ski Patrol is actively working on avalanche control, you know, update from Justin, you know. Snow sports, rocking it. Everybody knows and loves Aaron. So that would be a good showcase, you know. You know, but yeah, um, I don't know. I'll open it up to Brandon and Thor and Tracy and all if you have any more comments. And and if anybody has, you know, after this meeting, any way we want to kind of restructure these meetings and all, I'm all ears. This is my first committee meeting I've held, so yeah. Anybody
Um,
else have?
I appreciate this committee, and I know it hasn't existed in a while. I hope that it can continue to be a really good tool. I really agree with Brandon's communication, Sean, you as well, about how transparency is actually providing some details. Maybe even go as far as a tracking number. I don't care. You guys can talk about that. But we've all been waiting for the mail for 2 weeks or more. Any given person in Juneau is. We understand that. That's relatable. Um, yeah. So, anyways, Tracy, welcome. And I'm looking forward to all the great things that we can do together to fix her up.
I don't have anything. I just appreciate this committee and you, Tracy, and Marissa, you keeping it all all running electronically,
I'm
and
trying.
whoever else is here from Eaglecrest. I just appreciate everything you're doing right now. And Tracy, I know you know it's tough coming into a community like this and figuring out the ins and outs, and then we're throwing a lot of our grapevine experience at you. Um, so thanks for being open to that, and we're really excited to have you. And I think one of the reasons you're getting so much feedback is just reflective of the need we have for you, and to get out in front and kind of revitalize the feelings the community has in support of Eaglecrest. And so thank you for being here and for listening.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Tracy, and thank you, Greg, for the work you are doing there. And I'm looking forward to kind of building this working relationship there. And as far as the next kind of couple days go, and the next meeting, I think our next meeting is January 7th. Is that correct, Marissa? No?
No, February
Oh,
8th or February
February.
4th. February
Okay.
4th.
So
Yep.
February 4th there. So we'll kind of meet up. Tracy, I'll try to kind of give you some ideas if you are interested in kind of, like writer spotlights or people that would be good, to kind of have that and showcase there. Definitely willing to help with that. And use us as a resource too if you want to bounce ideas or say, hey, what do you guys think about that comment and all? Not that, like, again, we're not marketing people and all, but or I guess a better way was like, how have you guys heard it was perceived or something? That might be helpful, because we've got our own, ski groups and all that, but also like we're out and about. I'm easy to find, and I'm always on the side of the road there working or something like that. So it's pretty common for someone that skis at Eaglecrest to stop and ask me questions, so or for me to see a friendly skier and wave them down and talk skiing because I'd rather do that than most things there. I love skiing. So um moving forward again, if we can, and also Tracy, if you do want to share those numbers and all with us, that'd be great. Before we close things out here, if anybody has any final comments or if we're okay to close this meeting out, we should because it is already one. All right. No comments? Marissa, am I missing anything on the agenda protocol?
You are not.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys that are up there get out skiing. I'm gonna start continually moving snow and shoveling it away from my house here, but looking forward to seeing you guys up there. Talk to you guys later.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.